welcome to our special interview with Father K.D. Joseph, a dedicated Salesian priest whose journey of faith and service has inspired many. From his early calling, sparked by a family connection to the priesthood, through the challenges of adapting to a new environment in Tirupattur, to his deep commitment to education and pastoral care, Father Joseph's story is one of resilience, devotion, and unwavering dedication to his mission. Join us as we explore the milestones of his vocation. To begin with, if you can tell us how or from whom did you hear about Don Bosco?
About Don Bosco, I heard after coming to the Salesian congregation, and when I joined the Salesian house of Tirupattur in 1946. But earlier, my sister one day came from her school, the Malayalam medium school, attached to the convent where Sister Alfonso was living. And she brought a book, Saint John Bosco. I read a few pages from that one, and especially loved the incident where he was running after the people who were coming and stealing grapes and some birds from the farm, and how they were running after it. And then his answer that he says he's ready to forgive them. Though in the beginning you found it very hard to forgive, he forgave them. That struck me, only that. But that's the only time I heard the name John Bosco.
So the book was in Malayalam itself.
In Malayalam.
So imagine who would have actually brought
I
this.
don't know. My sister brought it from the convent school where she was studying.
Then how did you choose? Okay, what was the sign which prompted you to be a priest, maybe a Salesian priest later?
After the death of my mother, my cousin got ordained to a CMI priest.
Mm-hmm.
He met me on the way back from my home where he had paid a visit, and I was at school. On the way, he met me coming from school. He recognized me, though I had not seen him at all.
I see.
Because he was studying quite far away from home. I was very small. They did not even take me for ordination, or that they probably be at class, I think. That must have been the reason. I never went for that. But my father and my sisters went for the ordination. Then recognized me, placed his hands on my head and said, "You must study hard, and see if you can become what I have become." Mm-hmm. He told me that.
You remember his name, Father?
Father Salvador, CMI. Father Salvador, CMI.
How many years did you spend in Tirupattur?
I spent 5 years.
5 years.
That is doing the second form, doing the third form, fourth form, fifth form, sixth form. Systematically, the 4 years. Then we had 1 year extra. Those who go into the novitiate, we were taught both, more English. We were doing works of Shakespeare and so on at that time. Sent us to novitiate in Mount Don Bosco.
Who was your novice master?
My novice master was Father Mandavani.
Father Mandavani.
Okay. Yes.
So you were in Kotagiri for your novitiate?
For my novitiate.
Father, see, in your Salesian life, I'm sure there must have been Salesians who have really inspired you, have been your real role models. Mm-hmm. Could you tell us about?
2 priests especially will stand out in my Salesian life, who inspired me with ideals and advice. And let me say a good example. One was Father Med, my first rector. He was very fond of me because
where is Father Med from?
Father Med is from Czechoslovakia. At that time it was Czechoslovakia. Now it is divided. Now it's called Czech Republic and Slovakia. He belonged to Czech Republic.
Exactly. So, I have heard about Father Med when he was a provincial. He would travel from Madras to Bangalore by scooter.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. He would go by scooter. He was presented with a car when he became provincial.
Okay.
But he kept the car, I think, in the provincial's house. And he bought a scooter. saying that he was more at home with the scooter than in the car.
Okay.
And he would come from Madras to Tirupattur, from Tirupattur he would come to Cochin by scooter. I know that he had even gone as far as Goa.
I think towards the end of Father Med's life, he was as a missionary in the Northeast.
He was a great missionary, and he did a lot for the, especially for the poor people in Nagaland, I think. I think Nagaland, or Manipur, somewhere the Imphal side, I think.
Talking about that, one more Salesian who
Father,
really inspired you.
Another father, Dennis. He
Where
was,
is he? Where
he,
was
is,
he
he's
from?
he was a native of Bombay,
Oh, okay.
and they would say an East Indian, they would say.
Ah,
Not a Goan, an East Indian. And he was originally the secretary of Monsignor Matthias, the Bishop of Madras. Then he came over and began to teach us in the aspirantate in the the third form. Taught us some biology. But I remember him as an English teacher. He taught us English, and not only that, he taught us about the beauty of English and would give us beautiful books to read. He was a great admirer of Fulton Joshi. And he would read that book, then he would give it to us and recommend us to. One thing I particularly remember is this: every month we had to go to him to get the corrections that would be given after the superiors would meet. Every month they would meet and they would discuss the conduct of the aspirants. Then the result that would be given by the prefect of studies. So we had to go and meet him. And one day I went, so he talked to me, exhorted me to study hard. Then he said, these memorable words that are still etched in my heart. For K.D. Joseph, the Sacred Heart expects great things from you. Don't disappoint him. Reading.
I remember as a young boy when I joined the aspirantate, you were my first rector in 1980 in Don Bosco Bhavan, Manuti. When I recall, I can still picture you going around with one special magazine, National Geographic magazine. You were also teaching geography and history in the school. So I knew that you were in love with books, magazines. What is this, the source of your inspiration, of your spirituality? As you mentioned about Fulton Joshi, the books, spiritual books. So is this, if you can tell us how the books have inspired you?
Books have inspired me. Surely I would read the life of Christ. As a brother in practical training, I read the whole of the life of Christ by Ricciotti. Then later, Pope Benedict XVI had written a beautiful life of Christ in 3 volumes. I got all the 3 volumes and I read them from cover to cover.
So, further moving on, if you can tell us about the need of the Salesian ambience. I know from home you reached Tirupattur, you found the Salesians, especially the missionaries, being with you, probably 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So, what do you think of the Salesian ambience, the kind of...
The Salesian ambience, according to me, Bastian, is, what impressed me was, and what I wrote home about the Salesians in one of my first letters home was, they are 24 hours with us. I wonder whether they are going to sleep or not, because when we go to sleep, brothers will be walking around us between the stretchers on which we are sleeping. They were the stretchers on which we are sleeping. We'll be walking. And then when we get up early in the morning, they will be there walking in the same way as they did the previous night. Early in the morning with a rosary in their hand, they will be walking around. Wherever we went, we found the brothers. We never thought they were spying on us. They were friendly. They would help us to do work. They would work with us. They would move on. They would play with us. They would teach us. And they also would be strict and study, did our duties, and they would be assisting us. And would not allow us to talk and so on. But they were 24 hours friendly at our side.
So, Father Keddy, you were with Father Thomas Thail as Vice Provincial when he was the Provincial. Please do tell us about Father Thomas Thail.
For Thomas Thail, I knew him as an aspirant. He was so faithful and so observant of all the rules that he was made the bell ringer. And he was so excited in ringing the bells that everybody would say, he's such a good aspirant, they would say that. Not only that, very hard worker he was. As an aspirant, he would work just like an ordinary worker, he would work like that.
She was your senior.
No, yeah, he was in the, when I was in the 8th standard, he was in the senior aspirant. They had to remain 3 years, study Latin and English and so on, they had to remain. So he came there, because senior aspirant, he was there. And he would pray hard. Not only that, he was very good at, communicating with the people. And was chosen to be the first provincial of the Bangalore province, 1979, when Madras province was divided. He took me as the vice provincial, and he was really a brother and a father to me.
So you are also the first Vice Provincial of the Bangalore province.
Yeah, happened to be. I know how I became, anyway, I happened to be. And I accepted that one because Father Thail was the provincial. But Father Thail, no, that he was so gentle, so delicate. I have been in the provincial councils as a councillor, as vice provincial and so on. But this Father Thail would never speak out of the provincial's room. Things that were discussed in the council would never say that. And if there were some changes to be brought about, he would speak about it the next council, and he would tell why the change was brought about. Any letter written to him, even by an aspirant, he would answer.
So two things that I remember of Father Thail when I joined in 1980 in Don Bosco Manuti as an aspirant, he was the provincial. One is his love for coffee, how he would make coffee. Second, his love for basketball game.
Yes, then you could add a third one also. He loved to play cards.
Okay.
And that he did that one in order to spread that family spirit.
Okay. Then Father, you also served as a secretary of the province, secretary to Father TJ.
Father TJ, my knowledge of Father TJ goes right up from the time when I was in the 10th standard matriculation school. He was teaching us history. The first time someone taught us history with so much of life, so much of interest, that I loved the subject history because of Father. He asked me, I was vice provincial at that time. He asked me whether I could become the secretary of the province and his own secretary. I was very reluctant, but he asked me, insisted that I should. So in order to please him, I became the secretary. I did suffer a lot, not because of Father TJ, but due to various other factors.
When you were the vice provincial, you also revamped the rapport. Probably the rapport started at the beginning of the Bangalore province in 1979. And then when you moved after your rectorship here in Don Bosco Bhavan Manuti, you were in the provincial house, and you revamped the rapport with the then theologians. Could you tell us about how?
When I reached this Bangalore North Road on 1981, there was a rapport already existing. I made sure that it was published every month. I would call by phone people whom I knew, asking them to send some news. And then I had actually great help from Thomas Anjiganda, Kutiani Matrathil. They would come and they would edit the articles and they would make it ready to be printed. and thus, cyclosailed. I think we are cyclosailing it for the first time. Then had also the help of Father Baruchi. Father Baruchi wanted to write his reminiscences. And so he would every time give me a long article about his life as a Salesian, as a missionary. And that was put. It was interesting reading, especially coming from Father Baruchi.
Are Salesians relevant today? How far have Salesians, we as Salesians, realized the dream of Don Bosco?
Salesians are relevant today is a very difficult question to ask, but I feel as long as there are young men, Salesians are relevant. The Lord said, Don Bosco said, okay, you must work for the poor. And the Lord said one thing, the poor will be always with you. Whatever may be the heights to which our scientific technology will bring us up, there will be always poor people. There will be always children who need friendship. There will be always youngsters who need to be guided. And there the Salesian should be. According to the way that they can work because of the modern surroundings and modern techniques, modern technologies and so on. Okay. But I think there is always scope for the Salesians as long as there are youngsters. Because youngsters are still to be loved, to be encouraged, to be guided to fulfill their mission.
We were in the education field for a pretty long time. So what values would you insist? Even today, things have changed from the years you began as the headmaster and the principal. But value system has changed quite a lot. So what would you still insist on? What we Salesians should be focusing on? What the teachers should be focusing on?
You see, Bastian, when Don Bosco had his first dream, the boys were fighting. And Don Bosco was in their midst. And then, when our Blessed Lord will appear, when our Blessed Lady will appear, the lamps will surround them. And our Lady would say, this is what you should do for my children. What I would tell about to a modern educator, Salesian educator is, be with the boys, be interested in the things that they are interested. Teach them, guide them, and come up to the level that they expect of you in the technical field, the educational field. But then I think we must go into the midst and teach them. Bastian, is that most of us are turning out administrators in the educational field.
Than being an evangelizer.
They can be put as administrator anywhere.
Okay.
In a school, in a house or youth center, or they need a priest in a bank. I think some of us Salesian could be sent as a bank manager even. They would do that. They would administer the thing. Afraid.
So we need to relive the dream of Don Bosco once again as we celebrate the
surely
200th
must
anniversary.
Read and dream over and over again and make it applicable in today's situation. And I think there's a lot of scope for that. And you can do it.
You are so much esteemed by the past peoples. Now, what is the secret of this bonding?
I still, as long as, there was means of communication, I used to make use of communication. I would phone up to them often. When I was a rector, past people left, I would phone up, asking how he was. Secondly, if I passed through somewhere, and if I knew a house, I would just get in and say hello. Secondly, when they would come to the house, I would treat them as a real royal guests. I would really care for them. And I would take them to the superior refectory and would, to serve them all as though they were important people.
Father, if I ask you, which is the best place you cherished as a Salesian in your ministry?
So, the best place I worked when I was able to exercise my apostolate, I would say is Puthupalli.
How long have you?
I was there for 16 years.
Wow.
Something about which the whole province was worried about. And they were wondering why the provincial was not removing me. And for that also I got into some kind of trouble, I think. And there was a kind of, seeing that certain partiality was shown to me and so on. There was talks like that. But apart from all that, that's a place where I didn't know anything about it. I did not want to go at all there. I went there out of sheer obedience to Father Mailadu, who was my provincial.
How was this person of Women Chanty with you? The relationship.
I went to him asking if he could help me to found a school. From that day onwards, we became great friends. And he would tell me, if ever a school is given in the private sector, English medium school, that would be Don Bosco, he assured me.
About how Father Mailudur asked you to go to Pudupalli. Could you tell us about Father Thomas Mailudur? You are such a good friends, I know. So.
Yeah, we are good friends right from the beginning, Tirupattu. I do not know what attracted me to him and he to me. We're good friends. At that time, to be very honest, to practice kind of friendship was quite dangerous because they would always say about particular friends, about which I understood nothing.
So, Father, you are running 91. Okay, probably the oldest among the priests. I think Brother Chaco is.
Yeah, about 1.5 years older than me.
Older than you. So, what is the message that you would like to speak to us, people like us, young Salesians?
I would say, dream like Don Bosco, and there are children waiting for our love and affection. And hence, I must be able to dedicate myself to the little children or the youngsters who are sent to me. And I would like to say, bring Christ to them. And that's what I would say, whether they are, whatever religion they belong, bring Christ to them.
So, dear confreres, we are very happy to hear from Father K.D. Joseph. As he said, let's dream, let's live the dream of Don Bosco and take the mission ahead to be with the poor, deserving young children and others who are always with us. Thank you.